Hey there, Patreon peeps. It's Friday, guys. It's FanTalk Friday. We actually took a run at this last week on a Saturday,
right?
But it did not work.
Nope, not so hot.
Didn't work, but it took a little doing. So we are connected to Patreon through our YouTube Live and Google Hangouts. So hopefully this is working for you. And we're going to go live because there is a ton to talk about today, starting with Brian Bulaga.
I know he back at practice. Well, he's not back at practice yet, but he's been cleared to practice.
Yes.
And which doesn't, we've talked about that. It doesn't necessarily mean he's cleared to play, but he's cleared to practice.
Right,
it's going to be restricted, isn't it?
Yeah, McCarthy talked about it as like a restricted play. They're going to have him on a timeline. They're going to bring him back in slow. It's the preseason. There's no sense in risking him in the first place. And but yes, the thing for me was, you heard that he was ahead of schedule. And for me, being cleared to play, passing his physical tells me that there was no smoke and mirrors going on. This is for real. Brian Bulaga is on pace to be there week one. And that's the only thing I care about. I could care less about anything but week one being out there to protect Aaron Rodgers.
Right, yeah. And there's a tendency for organizations to not tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Right.
So, yeah, the fact that we were hearing these ahead of schedule and now we're seeing the fruit of that is exciting.
Right. Not bad at all. Now, and this, of course, helps our weekend be a little bit better after Monday was such a bad day. Jake Ryan goes down. The report I heard was he was pounding the field and screaming.
Oh,
just bad news. So you know it's going to be bad. You know it was serious. And then come to find out, yeah, it's his ACL. No surprise there. He's out for the season. So Packers may have to do some scrambling. What do you think they should do?
That, with the guys for me, that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch because Dom Capers would have moved someone into Jake's position who maybe is not suited for that position and then expect him to play that position. Mm-hmm. From what I gather from Pettin's defenses, he's probably going to be more apt to customize the defense to the players he has. There's talk of even though Josh Jones has been struggling, he's played some linebacker, and maybe we make some transition into a hybrid 4-3 defense where Josh Jones gets a lot of reps as a linebacker.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Kentrell Bryce is hurt too then. So if you do that, then you've got your set of issues. Do you think the Packers, whether it be a safety or at the linebacker position, need to be serious about bringing somebody in, bring in some veteran help? Because Blake Martinez looked around the guy. He talked to the guys when Jake went down, and he said, he said he looked around and like not a single one of these guys had any NFL experience. I mean, so I can see a lot of people in Packer Nation thinking we need to go outside and grab somebody.
Right. I mean, the depth behind Martinez is the only inside linebacker that I know of that we've got that has playing experience in the NFL.
Right.
So I'm actually kind of excited to see Oren Burks get a chance to get. I mean, he's going to get more reps because we don't have Jake soaking up some of those reps.
Yeah, so. And they've got Burks behind Martinez right now, but you've got to feel like if he's behind Martinez, he's a guy that they're going to plug in early, next to Martinez as well. Another guy, Ahmad Thomas, has apparently raised some eyebrows. It's way too early to tell, but a guy I think, and I talked about this on the live show Wednesday, Brian Gutekunst did not make it sound like he was really hard after bringing in another free agent.
No, he does not.
Yeah. Now, we did hear
some reminiscent of we like the guys
we got. Exactly. We know that's true. Yeah, but at the same time, we have heard some rumblings that there has been talk of A, B, and C free agents. So I do think he's fulfilling his promise of leaving no stone unturned. Yeah. But at the same time, I think he's not panicking. He knows he's got Mike Pettin, the veteran defensive coordinator. We've got a lot of guys. We've built this team with guys like Josh Jones who can play that hybrid safety/linebacker role. Oren Burks, who they brought in for a reason, and if he can make tackles on first and second down too, he's just not like Jake Ryan was more the old school first and second down, bigger, stockier, more of a run stuffing inside linebacker. So I think the Packers are going to be fine, but they are going to have some work to do. But I tell you what, if one of these guys like Thomas pans out or Jones steps up, somebody's going to find themselves a real nice niche in a Packers defense that's going to need them for the entire season.
Oh, yeah. Burks is not built like Jake Ryan, like that one first and second down run stuffer.
Right.
But with all the guys we have up front and bringing in Mo Wilkerson,
yes,
I'm not worried about the run stopping ability of this defense, and I don't think Pettin is either, which kind of excites me because Jake Ryan was not so hot in pass coverage, but Burks is a little lighter, has the ability to
and very explosive, really athletic and long. And, it's interesting because Mike Pettin kind of said this. I mean, he somewhat reflected the same thing. He said, really, the sad thing about Jake Ryan is it happened so early. There was just there's no warning. But at the same time, because it happened early, there's a bit, and I hate to say it's an advantage for any player to go down, a starter of ours. But that means we haven't even had our first preseason game. We can get these guys on the field, feel them out, and figure out how we move forward, what the best way is to move forward.
Yeah.
So,
The adjustment period will be vastly shortened.
Yeah, for sure, because they'll have plenty of practice time. It was practice number 4. So plenty of practice time. Well, another thing, our boy Jerry Kramer is finally going, is it just me, into the Hall of Fame.
Finally, the Hall of Fame committee has admitted that they've been wrong all this time.
For this long, and that's the way we frame it. We're Packer fans. But the fact of the matter is, he's been described as the best player not in the Hall. Well, they're finally fixing it. They're finally going to fix it. He's finally going to go to the Hall of Fame, not have to pay for his ticket. He's going to go up there and get his gold jacket. We know our Patreon people want to give congratulations to Jerry Kramer. Throw it up, put it on the comments. But at the same time, there's like a sense of relief that this could be a situation where, and I hate to even mention it, but he could pass away before this happened. And then how much does it, he's gone,
right.
and the NFL maybe kind of handing it to his family as some sort of consolation prize. No, this is the real thing. He gets to go in, he gets to have the speech, get the jacket, check out the bus, the whole thing. And that's all this weekend. It's really an exciting weekend.
And for me, what's really exciting about that is because I love history, I think Jerry Kramer is one of those stalwarts that remind us of the great Packer era in the 60s.
Right. Yeah,
where
you can't forget that.
Yeah, in the 30s, we had a three-peat of championships. In the 60s, we had a three-peat of championships. Right. And Jerry was a big part of that.
Yeah.
So that's what's exciting to me. If you guys are young and don't know a whole lot about Packer history, I'd recommend you dig into Cliff Crystal's articles on Packers.com, stuff like that, because this team has the richest history of any team in the NFL. The Bears have a long history, but we're talking 13 championships against 9. And
we're about to eclipse them in Hall of Famers too.
Right.
So we're getting there.
Yeah.
And we're ahead of them and now we're finally ahead of them in the all-time season. Can't wait till September 9th. It's unfortunate that we are not going to go to that game. We had to cancel that game. But be that as it may, the Bears did play last night. First preseason game, Hall of Fame game. This is the leading up. The Bears get to open the door for Jerry Kramer to come in and get inducted in the Hall of Fame as we prepare to bypass them. But football is actually back. The preseason has begun. I watched some highlights. I was planning to watch the game, watch some highlights. Not much. It's preseason football. If I was a Bears fan, I'd be watching a lot of their young guys because it's super exciting and it does matter. I can't stand this notion that preseason games don't matter.
Yeah,
that is about the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
And in defense of the people that say that, I think what they mean is the score of a preseason game doesn't matter.
Yes, and preseason games are not fun to watch.
Yeah,
both of those I can take. Yeah. So we will, when we talk about the preseason games, which we're gonna be talking about the Packers preseason game, family night tomorrow night, and then we are right into the Titans coming to town. It is all going down. But football being back to me is it's just the icing on the cake for this week. It's been such a long off season, and it's coming to a close.
And that kind of brings us full circle to the history of the team, because what other team in the NFL sells out a practice.
The entire
and there's not even an inter squad scrimmage anymore.
No,
it's just a practice.
Yeah,
and we sell it out.
And
12 out of 18 years.
Yeah, for crying out loud. And you know, we want to give kudos to Packers fans everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is not make no mistake about it. There is not a coach in this league that would not love to have that opportunity for players to have a preseason game. They get to walk out on their field and hear almost 80,000 fans for that practice before they have to have their first preseason game in the league.
Yep.
An absolute advantage in the Packers. And again, for us as a draft and develop team, I think family night guys, get up there. If you're going, go and cheer, because it is important for the development of the team for these guys to go out there and hear that excitement and the energy in them. Yeah,
and if you really want to kind of come to grips with the magnitude of the sellout of a family night, several years ago, I did a search for Bears family night. They have a family night as well. Take a look at their crowd. I mean, there's more seats than there are people.
Wow, yeah.
It's just it's empty.
And that's typical. I mean,
yeah.
Again, it's a practice. Mm-hmm. But I do have to give a lot of credit to the Packers organization for making family night something that is worth it for families to go to. Like, they make it more than a practice. Mm-hmm. They give away jerseys. They have the shirt off your back. They do the fireworks, and they do a really good job of making. We've been there, and it is really for kids. And Mike McCarthy talked about it. He said, I may get this wrong, but he said it's like the biggest daycare in the world because there are so many kids there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the next generation.
Start them young, start them right.
Dang right. That's what they're going to do. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of excitement. Still, we were going to talk about training camp battles. We might sort of forego that a little bit today. But, you know, the Jake Ryan injury will affect practices moving forward. Who gets moved where? We'll keep our eye on that. We know inside linebacker is going to be important.
Yeah, Kentrell Bryce is actually walking around on that.
He was walking around. Jason Wilder said gingerly walking around, but he did not have a boot or anything like that. I would have thought, even with a high ankle sprain or something, there would have been some kind of protection. But from what I've seen, the pictures that I've seen, that's not the case. So, yeah, very positive, and maybe one of those kind of dodged a bullet kind of thing with Kentrell Bryce. Right. This is a guy that was showing some real promise and had taken some reps away from Josh Jones, a guy that we spent some draft capital on. Mm-hmm. And we're going to need him. We need that safety play because no more Morgan Burnett. This is a vacuum that still has to be filled. Right. We haven't seen that happen just yet. Yeah. But then, you look at, like you were saying, you know, if Bryce is – whether he will be ready for week 1 or not, I am not sure right now. And frankly, I would rather have him be conservative and us try to ride out maybe week 1 against the Bears. Maybe he can come back, knock on wood, against the Vikings week 2. Because the Packers' season schedule is as tough as it gets in the league. And
right out of the gates.
Right out of the gates. Thankfully, we've got them at home. We got the Bears at home, then the Vikings at home. But you know, and you can't overlook that Bears team. Those are the guys that went out there. They got Trubisky. And, you know, Roquan Smith, as far as I know, still unsigned with contract issues, trying to hammer that out. But he's a guy on a good defense with a really good defensive backfield already. You can't overlook the Bears.
Right.
But reports so far make it sound like the Packers' offense is clicking pretty well. They look pretty well. You know, we brought in Jimmy Graham. He's been catching passes. I don't want to put too much into it, but he's been catching passes in practice. And then Mercedes Lewis, I think, in the running game is going to really help us out against the Bears. We're not going to have Aaron Jones right out of the gate. Yeah. Looks like Jamal Williams might sneak into that spot. It sounds like he's taking those first-team reps.
Yeah, I think Williams and Jones were both serviceable backs, but Jones just has that electricity about him, and that's the difference. And that's why I would give him the edge as a starting running back. But Williams, I think, will do fine. He's a hammering back, and we've got that big offensive line that's going to make holes for him. So.
That's right. And now with Brian Bulaga getting to practice, which makes me feel better. Yeah. Justin McCray performing. And, you know, Ty Montgomery on third down is going to be dangerous. It looks like they've got him kind of slated to fill that role where defenses are looking for a pass catching running back out of the backfield. He's pretty daggone dangerous that way. But the guy can get it done on the ground. We've seen him the Dallas game, the divisional round, 2 touchdowns in that game on the ground. He has a nose for the end zone. He can get it done. So excited about what Ty Montgomery can do as well.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about our upcoming game. Of course, with us doing a FanTalk Friday show,
right?
We're going to be after the game because it's a Thursday game against the Titans. What are you kind of looking for? Probably the biggest, if you had to prioritize it, what would be the number one thing you're going to be watching?
Yeah, well, and of course, first preseason game. I don't care what vet. I don't care. I hope they hold all the vets out. You still probably are going to need to see Geronimo Allison go out there and perform a little bit. But even he has almost shown enough to maybe wait till preseason game 3, work him in with Rodgers and see if he's the guy you got. I don't know. I'm not the coach. But here's what I'm looking for. How do the Packers handle the inside linebacker situation without Jake Ryan, and who steps up in that regard? Because like you say, it's a bunch of guys that have not played in the NFL. That's what we've got. That's the situation right now. So number one, I want to watch, how does Pettine attack that scheme issue? Does he go with the safety, try to get Josh Jones in there? Personally, if Josh Jones can play the safety position and not the hybrid linebacker role, I feel like that's an advantage for him right now. Keep it simple for him right now. But if nobody steps up, that might be something we have to do. But you look at Ahmad Thomas, guys like that. If they go out there, remember, this is a team that won a Super Bowl with 15, 16 players on IR, and Frank Zombo got a sack. Frank Zombo got a sack in that Super Bowl. So there is an opportunity. This is a door that's wide open. And I think in the past, from time to time, we've seen, and I don't know if it's the coaching staff or just each individual player, times where guys could fill that gap. We saw Jordy Nelson go out for a season with an ACL. You had a perimeter wide receiver door just swing wide open. And we kept asking ourselves, who's going to fill that gap? Who's going to step up? Same thing for me. Against the Titans, inside linebackers make tackles all the time. Why do you think inside linebackers why do you think Blake Martinez led the league?
Yes,
they're in on every tackle, every play they are basically in on. There's a chance for a guy to go out there and really make a splash, and I'd like to see that happen. Because if we do, and we do it without having to pay somebody, part of the thing I talked about, I posted earlier in Out of Breath Arms for Packer Minute. Every penny we pay a free agent is another penny we've got to jockey around, because Aaron Rodgers still needs a contract right now. So if we can take one of these guys, maybe it is Thomas, and bring him up, and he shows something at the inside linebacker position, that really bodes well for the Packers moving forward. I mean, seriously. Of course, aside from that, I can't say I'm not excited to see our group of wide receivers on offense. And maybe, if you see one of those guys start to click with Aaron Rodgers, I'm not talking about Deshaun Kaiser. Deshaun Kaiser and Equanimous St. Brown, those guys have a past. You expect maybe they're going to click a little bit. You always have these exciting – we had Michael Clark last year. But if one of them clicks and this won't be the Titans game, but it'll probably be the 3rd preseason game, see one of these guys click with Aaron Rodgers or show enough in the Titans game to get Aaron Rodgers' attention, and he starts looking for him on the field, Aaron Rodgers can make one of these young wide receivers really good. And this is a position that's very difficult to perform in early, like your first year. I'm not expecting much, but if it happened, it'd be really exciting.
Yeah, and if Aaron gets confidence in your ability to catch, he'll just throw you more balls.
Darn right. Yeah. The way it looks right now, it seems like Geronimo Allison is playing well. Well, of course, Geronimo Allison helped his case too this week. I guess it was just yesterday in practice when Aaron Rodgers rolls out to the left, and it's just a no look all the way to the right side of the end zone. Just one of those. I think Mike McCarthy described it as we have to start a new book on that kind of play. I mean, it was that good of a pass.
Right, because he keeps a book on.
Yeah, he says every time Aaron Rodgers goes out there, there's something you write down. It's like, this should go in the book. This is what you should do. This is how you should do it. He said, this pass, you needed to start a new book. But the fact that he trusted Geronimo Allison in that situation says a lot about him. And again, you put a receiver like that out there, a nice tall receiver, and there's a lot that he can do.
I tell you what I'm going to be watching is the Pettine's defense as a whole. I'm I'm really
like the attitude of it and the way that they flow to the ball, or
yeah, more assignments, because it's going to be very vanilla.
Sure.
And to me, if we can accomplish a great deal, if we can keep the Titans in single digits scoring with a very vanilla defense, then when he opens the Pandora's box, we could really be a holy terror on the field. So I'm going to be watching that, because I want to see how these players respond to that.
Right, and it was very telling to me. Of course, there was all the controversy about Aaron Rodgers throwing the 7 interceptions so far in training camp. And Mike Pettin got up there and he made the comment that we are throwing some stuff at Aaron Rodgers that he has not seen before. Well, guess what? Aaron Rodgers is going to figure all that out, because Mike Pettin is his coach. Guess who's not going to figure that? Matt Stafford is not going to figure that out. Kirk Cousins is not going to figure that out. And Mitchell Trubisky is not going to figure that out. He's going to have 2 games to prepare for that. And all those, like you say, the smoke and mirrors, the little nuances, the fades, the dropouts, all the stuff that Pettin has in this defense that's been working is really going to work against these guys. Aaron Rodgers will have a chance to figure that out. He doesn't have to play against himself, his own defense, come regular season. But these guys do. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
I think that this defense, if there's one thing I would say up to this point, I do think it really does seem to have a different attitude. And that attitude is attack. And that was the one criticism of Dom Capers is what we tried to do is kind of be a little conservative, drop back, but then you try to get the pressure up front, but then you're trying to pick the ball off behind. Well, guess what? Mike Pettin's defense seems to be able to pick the ball off too. But he's doing it by attacking the quarterback and confusing the quarterback and hurrying the quarterback up. And we know, especially with our interior line now, shortest distance to the quarterback for pressure is through the middle of the field, just like this Mike McCarthy said about the shortest distance to the end zone for an offense. So it's very exciting to see with Mo Wilkerson now in the mix. We know what we've got in Mike Daniels and Kenny Clark, the way he came on last year, to see this defense really get some things going. Gotta say, we were going to talk about the cornerback position in that battle. May not get into that now. We want to only shoot for about it. Yeah, next week. But, Jair Alexander gets his first pick against Aaron Rodgers. If this guy it's a confidence boost. And it sounds like he just made an intuitive move. He stuck to his keys, and then he broke on the ball and played football. That's what Mike Pettin is instilling. Tramon Williams said the same thing. He said, listen, it's simpler, but it basically calls on us to go out there and just play the game of football. And he said that's what football players love. So I think that we're in a pretty good situation as far as that goes. The personnel loss of Ryan does mean something as a very efficient run stopper. But the fact that these guys are getting out there and getting excited about playing football, I think that plays into the fact that we're a draft and develop team. Make it simple and then let these guys use their athleticism. And I think that plays into what the Packers have built. Yeah, and
of course, Pettin's defense has generated, 7 interceptions against Aaron. But you kind of – it's preseason. You kind of have to take that with a grain of salt, because, number one, Aaron's going to try stuff in practice that he wouldn't necessarily try in a game simply because there's no downside to it. You're not keeping score, things like that. But it does kind of make you wonder: is Aaron trying stuff that he shouldn't be trying, or is it really Pettin's defense that's doing well?
Well, and Philbin broke those down pretty carefully, and a lot of it he talked about was the situation, that these are situations where Aaron Rodgers, your 2-minute drill, where Aaron Rodgers knows he's got to make something happen. Well, that's fine, because that is, even from the defensive side, there's going to be situations where they know the quarterback on Mitch Trubisky has to make something happen right now. This could be an opportunity.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, and Philbin said this, he said, I have no worries moving forward, because Aaron Rodgers knows in a situation, yes, I have to make something happen, but he knows where the line is to draw to say, no, this is going to result in a turnover, and that's worse than trying to make something happen at this point.
Right. You're talking like a 2-minute drill where Aaron is pretending that you need the score to either tie or win, and in those situations, like you say, you're going to try stuff. that you wouldn't necessarily.
Well, yeah, I mean, not pretending necessarily, but in practice, you're going to try this stuff. In a real game, if it's a regular season game and you know the situation, maybe I take the chance, but I put it a little further outside, and I'm conservative with it in the event that, well, if it fails, then maybe my defense has a chance to give me the ball back. If they don't, then yeah, he's going to be able to make things happen, and he's going to have times when he has to make things happen, but he's going to definitely do it with a completely different mindset than you do in training camp.
Yeah, absolutely.
When on the other side, you're just subconsciously, to some extent, you never want to miss. I mean, Aaron Rodgers never wants to throw an interception. I don't give a rat's butt if it's training camp or playing out in a park somewhere, a pickup game. He doesn't want to throw picks.
Right.
But he thinks differently about those picks in training camp than he does in a regular season game. Without a doubt, they just matter that much more because the games matter. So, so yeah, Philbin, no concern whatsoever. Situationally, no concern whatsoever. But then also on the defensive side of it, these guys are guys that have some instincts. They have some ability. They have some athleticism because they've been making some things happen.
Now, I'm hoping that against the Titans, I hope the Titans are going to field Mariota because, we looked at the Bears' stats and they didn't even put Trubisky on the field. So I'm hoping that the Titans don't follow suit and they actually put Mariota on the field because I really want to see these guys play against Mariota's not an elite quarterback at this stage of his career, at least, but he's still a very good quarterback, and he would challenge us.
Be a good challenge for us.
And we get to see some glimpses of how our boys can play.
Yep, because it'll be our second. We're not going to be putting veterans in harm's way in this game.
Yeah, Clay's not probably going to.
I can't imagine. And why? And Perry's still on the pup. Get some guys out there and let them show that they can flash greatness. And again, it's football. That's interesting about the preseason is, it's so vanilla. It's still football. It's still, if you break it down and make it simple, it's still guys on guys, and you still have this option and the opportunity for young guys to show that they can outplay the guy across from them, period.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's valuable.
That's the key for me is that because it's vanilla, you have to beat your man.
You're not hiding behind scheme anymore. It's exactly what Pettine said from the beginning.
A good defensive coordinator can take a player who maybe lacks some skills and make great plays out of it just by how he schemes things. And if you're vanilla, then it's basically me on you.
You've taken that advantage out. That's right. And that's why it's so valuable for coaches' evaluations of these young players. This is a chance to see, is this guy good enough to perform against that guy? That's what football is about.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, before we go we're probably going to close here, but we do want to take just a second and absolutely thank all of the patrons. We've brought on several this week, including ourselves.
Right.
We felt like, which I think is important. I think we need to show that we endorse our own stuff. It's kind of like you buy stocks that CEOs own, right? So we're here as well, but we've grown. We've brought on the guy that originated the bike tradition at training camp is now on, and we'll of course be mentioning that from time to time. Really good stuff coming. We're super excited, but guys, you guys make this happen. We now have we are back to 1 day a week with Facebook Live, the free shows, and it is looking like we're getting very close to bringing on a second show, second day a week.
And that happens when?
Well, right now, the plan is to do it Monday. I did it Wednesday this week.
Oh, I mean, when do we bring on the next show?
Well, we bring on a show at every 10%. So we've cut the goal for bringing Facebook Live back 5 days a week. We've cut that in half. So it's not 100% of our Patreon goal now. It's 50%. We're at like 16, 17%. As soon as we get to 20, now we're going to have 2 shows going. All right, Facebook Live. But that's a credit to all these guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you guys are the ones that are, you guys are basically funding the free shows that other people enjoy in Packer Nation. And hopefully that's just because, they don't have the wherewithal to throw in some money or whatever. But more and more we're finding that people are realizing they're going to throw in. And we're going to get hopefully back to 5 days a week, as hopefully before the season begins would be great. But yeah, we're enjoying that, but that's all the credit to you. We love you guys. You're awesome. So family night tomorrow night, fireworks, shirt off your back, jerseys getting handed out. I remember how exciting it was when the section of my kids got called. And I was like, Please let one of my kids get a jersey. It'd be so awesome. It was going to be, I forget if it was Andrew Corliss or Richard Rodgers, maybe jersey. Good things happening, and we're rolling very quickly right into a Packers preseason, starting with the Tennessee Titans, and starting to see how these little young bucks and this brand new defensive system are going to do. So exciting stuff coming up again. Thank you all. And you got any last comments you want to say, or thoughts you want to? The
only other thought I had was if you guys are interested in some tailgating stuff and haven't checked out our tailgating Facebook fan page, if you go to facebook.com/NFL tailgate party, all one word.
Yep.
We're going to go live with a show tomorrow.
We will be live tomorrow on that Facebook page, and we've decided. I think I mentioned this on the Facebook Live show. Okay. We're going balls to the wall. This is a Packers show. This is Packers show, and we're just going to happen to cook some good food while we do it.
Right.
And maybe do a stunt. We might do some crazy stuff.
We do tend to do crazy stuff.
We do at times. And so it's just – frankly, it's the most fun I've had doing a show. It's just been a blast. Yeah. We decided to make it a Packer show just because you guys have been so supportive, and we feel like it's a great forum. Cook some food. Packer fans love to cook. They love their tailgating. They love to get out, cook some food, talk about the Packers, and then watch these guys kick some ever-loving butt out on the field. So it's coming real fast.
Yeah, so jump on the fan page, and we'll get notifications for that.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Again, thank you so much, all you patrons. We did not have the live comments up. We're going to work on that. This is a work in progress. We're trying to make sure we get this live going.
We're learning.
Yeah, we're learning. We got to connect it with between YouTube and the Patreon page. But regardless, you're going to be watching this at some point. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy family night if you're able to go, if you're able to watch. Preseason football coming soon, and then we are going straight into the Packers 2018 season. All right. Well, we love you guys. Talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Go Pack.